morning and welcome to the Timeline Broadcast. I'm Dylan White. Thank you for joining us today, and there's a lot of news to cover this month. We've reached the midpoint of the semester, and that can only mean one thing. It's midterms week. We know that everyone is struggling to remember all the terms and vocab words for your exams, but the Timeline team wanted to see if you had any last-minute study tips. Here's what you had to say.
Midterms are kind of winding down for this semester, but do you have any last-minute study tips for students who might have one later today or tomorrow?
I would just say just keep reading over it every night as you go to right before bed. Just have that fresh on your mind. I've heard it's good to chew gum while you do it, and then chew that same gum while you're taking that test so that it kind of stirs up those memories a bit.
Try to do as much as you can within an hour, or don't overdo your studying or it'll just feel overwhelming.
Try your best to focus on what you're actually studying and not get distracted by other things.
I'm actually sitting here with Hannah Tucker, a student success advisor working down in the ASC, and she has her advice for last-minute study tips during midterms.
It's twofold. One, come to the Student Success Center. We have awesome tutors. We're open Thursday and Friday from 8 to 5. You don't have to have an appointment, but we can make you one. And secondly, get enough sleep.
After you finish your midterms, MBU Student Activities is hosting a fun event coming up this Sunday at 6 o'clock. There will be a trivia night in the cafeteria, so grab a team and come down to test your knowledge. And if you can't wait until then, they are also hosting a board game night tonight as a part of their Thursday in the Perk events. If you're tired of hearing the words COVID-19 or the pandemic, join the club. However, we're here to touch on a lighter side to the whole situation, the vaccine. It's been over 1 full year since the beginning of the pandemic, but baby steps have been made in the right direction, including decreasing numbers in hospital beds, more lax policies, and now an actual vaccine. The vaccine is still not accessible to everyone. However, we have seen it being distributed more in recent weeks. Some groups who are on the priority list for receiving the vaccine in Missouri are the elderly, those who work in the healthcare industry, and other high-risk individuals. We got the chance to speak with Ashton Lindsley, an MBU women's soccer player who has aspirations of becoming a nurse and is currently employed at Progress West Hospital in O'Fallon, Missouri. Working as a pharmacy and patient care tech, she's in one of the first rounds of people to receive the COVID-19 vaccine in Missouri. Take a listen to her perspective on it all.
Yeah, so thinking about the vaccine at first I had my doubts, but being up close and seeing the pandemic from my eyes, I just knew I wanted to be a part of something bigger.
And to keep the good news coming, Open Hall is back in the residence halls. It's been over a year since residents were allowed to have guests, but since COVID-19 cases in Missouri are down right now, MBU is allowing residents to have guests in their dorm room from 6 to 10 p.m. each day, with main lobbies being open 24/7. Guests of the opposite gender must check in with on-duty RAs with their student ID. While in the halls, you must still take safety precautions by wearing your mask at all times when having guests. And to get the ball rolling with sports, we have some fascinating news regarding an alum of MBU. Former MBU football all-conference wide receiver Isaiah King has been making plays in the new fan-controlled football league. The FCF League is a professional indoor league that was created in 2017 based out of Duluth, Georgia. There are only 4 teams in the whole league, and fans control the team names, team logos, rules, and who is drafted for each team. Isaiah has played for the Zappers and the Wild Aces during his first 2 games, catching 2 touchdowns so far this season. Congrats to Isaiah King. And now let's toss to Hannah with sports.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Hannah Leahy, here to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of Spartan sports. The past couple weeks have been insanely busy, having just about every single team in MBU playing in some way, shape, or form. Men's and women's basketball both actually just wrapped up 2 very strong seasons, though. Both teams were seeded 3rd in postseason play, and after Game 1, the men came away with a 57-38 win over Hannibal LaGrange, while the women trumped Harris Stowe in their first playoff game by a whopping 84-42. A couple days later, however, the men fell to longtime rivals Central Baptist College in a heartbreakingly close game of 61-66, and the women lost to the now AMC tournament champions, Lyon College, in another close game of 59-66. Congrats to you both on your historical years. Football hit the road again for the redemption game against their very first opponent, Olivet Nazarene. And the outcome, although it was unfortunately a loss, was a much closer and a well-fought game. The Spartans fell 14-27 with some noteworthy moments, like the first touchdown of the year by senior Jordan Benavides, a great defensive performance by Jalen Cowley, and a special mention to Michael Malone for scoring on a 100-yard kick return. The Spartans are ready to move forward and play their second home game at Spartan Field this Saturday, March 6th at 5 p.m. versus Trinity International University. Softball also got underway after an extremely long hiatus thanks to COVID-19 interrupting and ending their 2020 season prematurely. They went 1-1 in a doubleheader versus Judson University at home. In Game 1, the Spartans took an early 1-0 lead with an RBI by Caitlin Chadwick. Caitlin Turbyfield then had the game-winning RBI in the 6th inning, carrying the team to a 2-1 final score. They are now sitting at a perfect 500 and have a ton more games to play this spring. Men's soccer had a great showing against a new non-conference opponent, Governor State University, in a 4-2 comeback win at Spartan Field. To open the game, the visiting Jaguars scored 2 quick goals within a span of about 10 minutes, but the Spartans didn't hesitate to answer. Junior forward Cullen Barr got the Spartans back in the game with a great goal towards the end of the first half, which began to swing the momentum back in the Spartans' favor. After tying up the game with a penalty kick from captain Dominic Smith, Governor State received 2 red cards. This called for goals from man of the match Louis Perez and Christian Dimitrov. The Spartans are now 6-3 on the season, continuing their play from the fall, and they still remain undefeated at home. I wish I could stay here and talk about the incredible sports teams we have at MBU all day. So golf, tennis, volleyball, bowling, dance, cheer, wrestling, lacrosse, track, and esports. Keep doing you, y'all. Just know we see you too, and we are so proud of you. Back to you, Dylan.
That's all for this week's Timeline Update in the News. For more stories like these from around the MBU community, visit MBU Timeline at the link on your screen. I'm Dylan White saying goodbye, God bless, and go Spartans.